Hello everyone. We are going to continue talking about if statement, and if you remember the last topic we talked about last time in previous video was about else if statements. Okay, so using else if or in Python it's elif, we can test multiple conditions. Like if can have one block, elif can have another also block can be tested using elif. Multiple block can be used to test it by elif, and the last one, which is kind of remaining after we execute all the conditions using the other statements, then we are going to execute the last one. Okay, so we want to see more examples of else if. So this topic is continue of else if statement. Okay, so let's say x is equal 5, and if x is greater than 100, then print x greater than 100. Then we are going to use elif, and I'm going to make a condition. If x is greater than 50, now print x is greater than 50, and then another elif. If x is greater than, let's say, 25, then print x is greater than 25, and then whatever remains go through the last condition. Print else means x less than or equal 25, right? And print finished. Okay, so let's see what happens. If x is 5, right? So x is 5, we are going to pass this condition. It doesn't happen. Pass this condition doesn't happen. Pass this one doesn't happen. Then it goes through this one, right? And then at the end, after we are done with all the condition, it's going to execute finished. Okay, so let me make it more clear here, and then we have all the colon. Everything is fine. Okay, let's run it. As you see, we are going through else, and then we are going to see this message. Okay, if x is greater than 100, let's say 110, right? Let's see what happens. X is greater than 100, right? And then let's see if x is 60, which is this condition. I'm curious to see what happens now. So we see that it says x greater than 50, right? So it's going to pass through this and find the first true one, which is this one, right? And obviously 60 is not greater than 100. So 60 between 50 to 100 goes here, right? And then between 25 and 50 goes here. Okay, I think everything is very clear here. Okay, so what else? Let's have another condition. Let's see what to bring. Okay, so let's have this here. Now I want to make all of them if instead of elif. Then you will see and notice the huge difference. So let's write down, note the difference between above and this one. So what's the difference? In this situation that I had 110, I had elif condition, right? But here I have two other if conditions. So what happens? So it's going to read this. If this is true, it's going to happen. If this is true, it's going to happen, right? And if this is true, it's going to happen. Oh, I just noticed my mistake. When here I said elif. Okay, let's go through this, and then if you can find my mistake here, I'm going to give you an extra credit, okay? So let's do this. Okay, so here what happens when it says x equal 110, it's going to go through this condition. Yes, that's true. So it's going to print the statement. And then if this is true, going to print this condition. And then if this is going to be true, it's going to print that. So there's no elif anymore, right? Elif going to just choose the most correct one, and if is going to check each single one, right? And accept the one is all the one is true, all the statements that are true. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, so now again we are going to, if you remember one time we talked about the inline statement, right? So let's look at another example of inline statement. Okay, so actually this one will be one line if statement. Okay, so what happens? I will say x is equal to 2. Then if x is equal 1, then print x equal 1, and notice the semicolon, and then we are going to print again x equal 1 semicolon, right? And then I'm going to have if, no indenting, right? X equal 2 colon, print, then x equal 2, and then semicolon, then print, and then again x is equal 2, right? And then semicolon. So this semicolon is a very helpful symbol. It's going to print everything right in a row, and then I'm going to print neither, and semicolon, print none. Okay, so what happens here? Initializing x tells us x is always equal to 2, right? So this statement is not true, but this statement is true. So it's going to go through this statement, print the first message and then the second message, right? So what happens? We will have x equal 2, again x equal 2. So if you see, the whole if statement is in just one line without indenting. As long as we have semicolon and we have colon here, everything will be fine. Okay, so there's one example before this I like to go through. So let's say name is equal to my name. right? And then if name is equal to Sam, print hello Sam. Then if name is equal to Derek, it's going to say hello Derek. And then elif, I'm using elif, right? Name is equal to Angel, print hello Angel. Don't forget the quotation. And then else, what happens? None of these names, right? Then it's going to print I don't know who you are. Then I'm going to print this. Look at this. Do you remember using the slash? We can prevent any error. And then at the end, print next name, please. Okay, so what do you think? What happens now? If I run this, it's going to say, I don't know who you are, right? And then next name, please. And then what I could do, be creative and write down the name here. If I do that, it's going to print the name that I entered above. So like this. I don't know who you are, Andy Shea. And then next name, please. And then what else I could do? I could create a space here. I could create comma and then at the end like this. And then as you see, something like this will happen. Okay, so let's see what else we have. Let's have another example. Fact equal 5. If fact, then print fact is fact. So what happens here? So fact is 5, right? If fact happens, means if this is true and we have a number for fact, and then it's going to print out fact is what number we had initially. So it's going to be like this. Okay. So another one. Fact equal false if fact happens, means if this is true, it's going to print fact is fact, right? Well, I'm going to bring this out of inline because I want to make the else condition. And then the else condition says print fact like this. So I want to show you different situation that I can create. So if fact is, let's start with true actually. If fact is true, it's going to read this one, and if fact is true, means if the result of expression here is true, it's going to print this. If the result of expression is false, it's going to jump to else, right? Let's see what happens. So fact is true, right? Now I want to say fact is false. So what happens? The result is going to go through this one and print out the false, result, right? And then now one else, what this does. Actually, I'm not sure, so let me check this. So in other programming language, we can write down something like this, and then whatever is here, it's going to negate that one. For example, if fact was false, negate of false would be true, right? Or if fact was true, the negate of true was false. But here in Python, we cannot do that. Instead, let me mention this one again. If fact is not true, means it's false, right? So what do you think what happens if fact is not true? Which one is going to print? It's going to say fact is false. But which one has print? The first one or the second one? Here also, the first one or the second one. So let's go through each of them to see which one was printed. So this one, if fact is true, I say it must print this part, means number 1. So number 1 is printed, right? If fact is false, this is going to be passed to this one. This is going to be printed, number 2, right? So if fact is false, then it's going to say fact is not equal true. So what that means is not equal true means if fact is false, right? Let me write down. Is means fact is equal false, right? So if false happens, look at this. It's going to print this one, right? Because false is equal to false. We have true statement in the first part, right? We have the whole true statement in the first part. That's why this is going to be printed out. Think about this, and if you have any more question regarding this, please let me know. Okay, so now we can have some if statement in this way. Let's say x is equal to 0, right? We can have some arithmetic operation performed here. If x is greater than 5, then y is equal to 10 multiplied to 5. Then else y plus, actually y is equal to x plus 2. And then at the end, I'm going to say, after you do this, print out the y. The value of y is y. So let's see what happens. So x is equal to 0, right? So this is not true. This statement is not true. But this one is true. So what happens, y will be equal to 0 plus 2, right? Let's see. Then y is equal to 2, right? So now another one. I'm going to use the x itself. If x is equal to 0, now I'm going to update the x. Update the x value here, right? And then update the x value, x multiply the x itself, plus, let's say 2, for example. and then so what happens, it's going to get the x value, multiply that to 10 and plus 2, and then going to replace the x with this new number, right? And then now if x is actually not greater than 5, it's going to subtract x by 1. Let's see what is the result of value of new x is this one. So -1. So what happens, x was 0, right? It's going to go through this statement, and then x is going to subtract itself from with 1. So it will be 0 minus 1, which is -1. Okay, so this was all about the if statement, and there are more about if statement, but these were the most important things you must know about the if conditional statement and elif. Okay, let me know if you have any question, and take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.